हेलो बच्चों, कैसे हो? आपका स्वागत है त्रिपान स्टडी सेंटर में। आज जो हम करने जा रहे हैं क्लास 10th एनआईएस बोर्ड का जो है सोशल साइंस यानी सामाजिक विज्ञान। जो आज हम चैप्टर करेंगे 23, जो कि काफ़ी महत्वपूर्ण है, चैलेंजेस टू द इंडियन डेमोक्रेसी यानी भारतीय लोकतंत्र के समक्ष कौन कौन सी चुनौतियां हैं, तो उसके विषय में हम विस्तार पूर्वक चर्चा करेंगे। ये टॉपिक कई मायने में हर एक क्लास के बच्चों के लिए महत्वपूर्ण रहेगा, चाहे वो सीबीएसई में पढ़ते हों, चाहे एनआईएस बोर्ड के बच्चे हों, चाहे यूपी बोर्ड के बच्चे हों, चाहे बिहार बोर्ड के बच्चे हों, इवन कि जो बच्चे कॉम्पिटिशन तैयारी कर रहे हैं उनके लिए भी ये काफ़ी महत्वपूर्ण रहेगा और काफ़ी ज़रूरी भी रहेगा। लेकिन आपको पता है, चैप्टर स्टार्ट करने से पहले एक बात जो मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ, जिसको आपको सोचना भी चाहिए, विचार भी करना चाहिए, इवन अमल भी करना चाहिए, वो ये है कि जब भी वीडियो देखिए पूरा देखिए, क्योंकि अधूरा जानकारी सदैव खतरनाक होता है। साथ में एक इंपॉर्टेंट बात ये भी रहता है, अगर आप पहली बार वीडियो देख रहे हो तो लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब करना मत भूलना, क्योंकि दोस्तों लाइक कीजिएगा तो बनाने वाले का मनोबल बढ़ता है, सब्सक्राइब कीजिएगा तो इससे ये होता है कि जब भी मैं कोई वीडियो डालूंगा उसका नोटिफिकेशन आपको समय रहते मिल जाएगा। और देखिए, शेयर का मतलब ये होता है कि आपके थ्रू न जाने किन बच्चों को हेल्प मिल जाए, ये आप भी नहीं जानोगे, इसलिए जो है आप शेयर जरूर करो, ठीक है। व्हाट्सएप स्टेटस पे भी लगाओ। दोस्तों एनआईएस सेंटर जो है कई मानने में बहुत से बच्चों के लिए हेल्पफुल है, चाहे वो 8th क्लास हो, 9th 10th 11th 12th हो, चाहे वो एनआईएस बोर्ड के बच्चे हों, ठीक है, चाहे बीए एमए के बच्चे हो, सभी क्लासों के लिए कुछ ना कुछ जो है त्रिपान सेंटर में उपलब्ध है। तो इसलिए आपके लिए ज़रूरी है कि आप सब्सक्राइब करके इसको चैनल को जो है सेव कर लो, नहीं तो बाद में अगर रिसर्च करोगे तो शायद आपको ये चैनल प्राप्त ना हो। तो इसलिए सोचना नहीं, विचार नहीं करना है, सब्सक्राइब करके जो है अपने पास सेव करना है। दोस्तों ये तो बात था आपके लिए, लेकिन आप देखते हैं हमारा आज टॉपिक क्या है। Challenges to be Indian democracy. This is the most important here. Challenges to the Indian democracy here. Since the independent India has been to functioning as a responsible democracy, the same has been to appreciated by the international community. It has successful adopted to be a challenging situation, and there has been to free and fair periodic election for all political office from to the panchayat to be the president, and there has been to smooth transfer of political power from one political party or set of political party to other, and both at a national and state level on many occasions. You will be find many examples in our neighborhood country like Pakistan, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. Their transfer of power has been to done through the military corps. This is important. The Pakistan, Myanmar, and Bangladesh, there is the power transfer of the military corps. This is important here. The legislative, executive, and judiciary organs has been to the functioning properly. The parliament and state legislative control their executive effectively through their mean like a question over, and etc. And more importantly, some significance enhancement like the right to be information means RTI, Right to Information Act of 2005, and Right to Education 2009, and other welfare mean to have empower the people. The mass media, including to print and electronic, have a fully autonomy and play a key role in the formulating and influencing public opinion. Significant social changes has been taken place in almost all walk of the life, and nation is moving ahead on the course of a social economical development. This is important. India is a very large country, fully of diversity. This is important. India is a very large country and fully of diversity, linguistically and culturally and religiously. At the time of independence, it was economically underdeveloped. There's a independent time. The India is economically underdeveloped, and there was a more original disparities and whispered to the poverties, literacy, and unemployment, and shortage of almost all public welfare means. Citizen has emerged to the expectations from the independent. As I mentioned above, India has changed a lot. Yet there are various challenges that a country faces in the term of fulfillment of expectation of various sections of society. The challenges come both from a prevailing domestic and international condition, as well as a lack of educators and prerequisites for the smooth functioning of democracy, and there are discussed below here. First of all, here, literacy. Literacy among people was a matter of grasp, a concern from the successfully functioning of democracy in India on the eve of the independent, and it still continues to be a major challenges. The level education of citizen is a key to be both the successfully functioning of democracy and social economical development of country. And fair, more importantly, it is on stimuli condition for a human dignity. But the state of formation literacy was almost dismal when the India achieved independence. The literacy rate in 1951 was more than 80.33% and female literacy was running level with 8.9%. This is 1951 there is condition here. It was therefore feared by the many that the citizen would not be able to pay. There is a role effective and exercises their right to be vote meaningful and which is on individual expression of the power of the people. This is important. As you also know, this apprehension, however, has been proved wrong by the Indian electorate over to the years. In the spirit of the substantial number of them began traits, and they have demonstrated minority. Minority is the exercise of the right to be voted on more than one occasion, thus the resulting faithful transfer of political power since the independence. The Indian National Congress under the leadership of Ms. Indira Gandhi was very popular and powerful during to the year part of 1970s. This is most important. The Indira Gandhi, there is a party of Indian National Congress. Indira Gandhi is a very popular and powerful during 1970. But in the 1977 general election, the people of India rejected her primarily because of the misuse of power during the emergency in 1975 to 1977. There is a misuse, there is emergency power from Indira Gandhi and the provide on the opportunity their first non-Congress government at the center in form of the Janata Party. After that, there has been to change in their governments both at the center and the state almost regularly. On your screen, the children's education. There is the most important free and education here. Literacy is necessary not simply for the embezzling citizen to be participate in the election and exercise that the right to vote effectively. It has other important implication as well. Literacy enables the citizen to be aware of the various issues, problems, demands, and interest in the country. It also makes them to the conscious of their principle of liberties and equality of all and ensure that the representative elected by them truly represent all the interests in the society. This is important. And universal literacy is therefore a must for the successfully functioning of Indian democracy. According to the 2011 census, the literacy rate has arisen to 74.04% and the female here literacy rate is still lagging at the 65.46%. This means that over one-fourth of the country as a population is still literate, while among the women nearly 1 out of 3 is not literate. If the children have success to the basic education, the problem of literacy can be checked. Recently, the right of education is provided as a fundamental right. We hope that this will be help to the cases of educating their children universally. And the next year, poverty. It is generally said that a angry person that to vote does not be have any meaning. It's important. It is said that a hungry person that to vote does not have any meaning. For him or there is a first requirement of food. Every person's first requirement is food. Therefore, poverty is considered as the greatest bane of democracy. It is in fact the root of causing all kind of deprivations and inequalities. It is a state of denial of opportunities to people to lead a healthy and fulfilling life. Of course, India inherited to poverty from long exploitative British colonial rule, but it is a continue to be one of the gravest problems today. Even now, a considerable portion of the India is a population lives below the poverty line. It's called BPL. There is a below a poverty line that's called BPL. The poverty line means an income level below the which human beings cannot be provided for their basic necessity of food, much less for clothes and shelter. There is a most important point here on the black here show. The government definition of poverty line during to 1960 sought to be measuring to extent of poverty on the amount of income required to the purchase as a base minimum disabled food having to nutritional standard of calories intake by a person. According to its Indian condition, a person in a rural area need on average of 2,400 calories per day, and the urban area is average of 2,100 calories per day in order to keep himself above the poverty line. This is the most important point here. And during 1990, no food item like cloth, employment, shelter, education, etc. were included in the definition of poverty. On your screen, there is a most important scene and pictures here. Poverty is another word of the affluence. There is a slum area. The slum area is poverty is the line is belong here. The poverty is the contemporaries face the link with the systematic deprivations of right. It is also associated with their notation of Human Development Index, mean HDI, Human Development Index, as accompanied by Abdul ul Haq and the Amrita Sen. This is the most important campaigns here, Abdul ul Haq and Amrita Sen. View from the HDI's perspectives, the definition of poverty also included a social, economics, and political and human right issue under its ambit. This is important here. The precise of phenomena of poverty is attributed to many factors, one of which is a mass unemployment and underemployment. A large number of peoples in a rural area do not have a regular and adequate work. In urban area, also the number of educated unemployed is very high. The growing population is regarded as a reason for poverty. Though the population is considered as the greatest resources in the country. In fact, the process of economic development has not been able to ensure social justice, and gap between rich and poor has not been a barriers. Because of all this, poverty continues to be remain a great challenge to be Indian democracy. Is important. The next topic here, gender discrimination. This is the most important topic here. Gender discrimination. Discrimination against to girl and women exists in every walk of life. You must have had to such experience of prevalent gender inequality in our society and polity. But we know that gender equality is one of the basis principle of democracy. The Constitution of India enjoins upon the state to ensure that a man and woman are treated as equal and there is no discrimination against the woman. fundamental right and fundamental duties, as well as the directive principles of the state policy, and make this intent very clear. And clear your mind this picture also here. This picture clearly show here the daughter doing to household chores and son going to school. This is a discrimination here. Here's picture to totally show here there is discrimination. The daughter doing to household chores and son going to school. This is a discrimination here. But the discrimination against female continue to be a fact of life. It is clearly reflected in the sex ratio, child sex ratio, and maternal mortality rate. The number of females in the comparisons to be male has been in decline ever since of 1901. In 1901, the sex ratio was 972 female per 1000 male. It's come down to be 927 female per 1000 male in 1971. You know that there is a graph is down here and discrimination is continue. According to 2011 census, it is a 940 female per 1000 male. This is an unfavorable female condition here. Today, there is a most important here, but this female ratio is very clear. 2011 census is a 940 female per 1000 male, which is still a very unfavorable to the females. In a sum of the state, in the 2011 census report by very low sex ratio of 877 female per 1000 male. Haryana, there is a country, state here. The longest began than 618 is the Daman and Diu, and 866 in the NCT of Delhi. This is imagine here. Delhi is a very low sex ratio here, 863. 866 is the NCT of Delhi, the capital of India. This is a discrimination here. The child sex ratio is the matter of great concern according to the 2011 census. The child sex ratio is 0.6 year in India is only 914 female children per 1000 male. This is also here is imagine. This is important. And this is lower than the 2001 census which reported child sex ratio of the 927 female children per 1000 male children. This is imagine here. It has been to decline because of the several factors like the prevailing preference of male child and discriminatory treatment against the girl child right to after birth and increasing incidence of the female infanticides and female facticides. By using technology, people are forcing mother to get the factors of a female child aborted. The infant mortality rate among the girl children is high as compared to that among the boy children. The maternal mortality ratio as per the sample station system 2004 and 6 is a 254 per lakh live birth, and which is considered very high. But this condition is not a favorable here. The next year, Casteism, communalism, religious and fundamentalism. This is the most important topic here. The Indian democracy faces a serious challenge also for casteism, communalism and religious fundamentalism. And they begin for the functioning and stability of democracy system. So first of all here, casteism. The caste system, which is a principal organization in the division of the labor in the Assam society, has become a more or less gracious group classification. Based on birth, have you ever experienced the role of caste in your life and society? You will be agree that the most determinable and inhuman aspect of the caste system in the practice of untouchability, and which is a continuity in the spirit of the constitutional ban imposed on it. And this has led to the segregation of so-called low caste or Dalit, depriving them of the education and other social benefit. The Dalit have been typically is performing manual labors and some of the hardest physical work in society. Casteism has a play a negative role even there is a democratic political process. In fact, casteism has become a notorious as a stress of expectation of caste and conclusiveness for the narrow political gain. The Caste System Act. The Caste System Act, again, there is a root of democracy. The democratic facility, like a fundamental right, relating to the equality, freedom of speech, expression of the associations, and participation in the electoral process, free media and press, and even to the relative forms and misuse to the maintenance of casteless identity. This is the most important here. Casteism has also been contributing toward to the continuation of social economical inequalities. It is true that India has been a unequal society from a time is emergence of the scheduled caste means SC and scheduled tribe STs, and the backward class have suffered downward edge from the social economics is a deep privation, and there are numerous inequalities in our society which are posing serious challenge to Indian democracy. This is a serious challenges here. And what is a more alarming is a mixing of caste and political resulting into the pluralization of caste and casteism of polity. In the contemporary India is volatile which has become a grabs challenge to be our democracy. And repeat, there is an era of liberalization and globalization. Caste concurrence has not been eroded in our society, and castes are began increasingly used as a vote bank politics. Next year, colonialism. The communalism is the most important topic here. The communalism and religious fundamentalisms have required a very dangerous from alarming rotations in India. They displayed their pattern of coexistence in our multi-religious society. And colonialism is on a front to be India as an nationalist identity, and tracks is a setback to it is involving scholar culture. It is a subdivision of our democratic political stability and destroyal of our glorious our heritage of humanism and composite culture. And quite often, communalism is wrongly used in a synonymous for the religious and conservatism and rents to be religious to be attachment to a religious community is not a communalism. On your screen, there is a most important here. My religion is the greatest. Vishnu is the great. God is great. Allah is great. Who is great? There is a different cause, different thinking. The Vishnu is great. God is great. Allah is great. My religion is the greatest. Although the conservatism represents a social backwardness, it does not be mean is a communalism either as a matter of fact. Communalism is an ideology or political allegiance to religious community. It is used one religious community against other communities or perceive other religious communities as the enemy. It is opposed to be secularism and even humanism. One of the manifestations of communalism is a communal roads. In the recent past, also communalism have provided to be a great threat to our social and political life on several occasions. Can you recollect some communal incidents that have occurring in the recent past? The next year, religious fundamentalism. Religious fundamentalism also reinforces communist in exporting both religions and politics. In fact, fundamentalism acts as an ideology which is advocate a return to be orthodoxy and strictly compliance to be fundamental tenets of religions. Religious fundamentalists is fundamentally is oppose progressive reform in order to establish their exclusive control on their respective communities. This is important. Our next topic is the most important here, regionalism. Regionalism is the most important here. Indian democracy has also been struggling with their regionalisms, which is primarily an outcome of religious disparities and the imbalance in the development. We all know that India is a polar country, and with the diversity of religions, language, and communities, tribes, and culture. This is important. India is a pluralist country with a diversity of religions, language, and communities, and tribe and culture. A number of cultural and linguistic groups are there concentrated in a contain a territorial segment. Though the development process in a country aims at the growth and development of all religions, the religious disparities as there are imbalance in terms of difference in a per capita income, literacy rate, state of health and educational infrastructure and service, population situation and the level of industries and agriculture development continue to exceed. This is important here. Extensive and there are continuously religious inequality both among the state and within the state create a feeling of neglect, deprivations and discriminations, and this situation has led to be regionalism manifested in their demand for a creation of the new states. Antinomies are more powers to be state or even secessions from their country. This is important. It is true that regionalisms and sub-regionalism are unavailable in the vast and the pluralist country like India. It is not always correct to be consider every attempt to be support or defend religions and sub-religions interest as a divisives and mysterious and there are up patriotics, and the problems begin when this is interest are politicized and religious movement are promoted for ulterior political motives. Such unhealthy religions and sub-religions, pastoralisms are cancers and depreciated, discredited, and there is a continuity in the religious imbalance has been to the rise to the militant movement and contain a part of our country. Separatism's demand in Jammu and Kashmir or by the ULFA means United Liberation Front of Assam. In Assam are by different groups in the northern eastern regions and the methods of graphs concern from Indian politics. This is important here. And the next year, corruption. The corruption, this is the most important topic here. Corruption in the public life has been to major concern in the India. In 2011, India was ranked 95th of 183 country. You know that this is the most important here. 95 of 182 country defined as a corrupt in a Transparency International Corruption Perpetuations Index. Means there are surveys or survey of CPI. The survey of CPI, there is a found 2011 survey, there is a ranking of 95 about of 183 countries. This is most important here. In the fact of corruption is the rampant in all walks of life. Where is the land and property, health, education, commerce and industries, agriculture, transport, police, army and forces. Even the religious institutions are so-called place of spiritual substitute, and corruption continue to exist in a covert and award await at all three levels. There is a political, bureaucracy, and the corporate sector. There is a most important here, three level: political, bureaucratics, and corporate sector. One can see there are annex between their politician, the bureaucrat, and the industrialist is which has been resulting into the corruptions and corrupt practice. The tendencies of the corruption has affected all organ of government, including the judiciary. On your screen, there is a most important picture here. There is a campus of the corruption. Say no to be corruption. Say no to the corruption. There's a most important here. Above all the corruption is electors process and briefings of voters who participate in an election at a different level has now become a common practice. Have you or your friends observed this is happening during the election in the recent past? In the recent year, various scams has been coming out in our country in a quickly successions. In fact, corruption is a sign of political instability and institutionally is a decline and challenging the serious responsibility of properties of the governments. We as citizens should be taken now to be in duels is a craft or practice at the any level and contribute in the eliminating corruption from our country. This is the most important here. The next year, criminalization of politics. This is the most important topic here. Criminalization of politics. In recent year, criminalization of politics in India has become a debatable issue, and there has been to the allegations that there are some element in our politics who do not have a faith in a democratic value and practice here, and they endorse is a violence and take a refuge in order unhealthy and undemocratic method to win the election. There is a unhealthy, undemocratic method to purpose here win the election. And undoubtedly, this is not a healthy trend in a politics, and there is a on recent need to be applied serious check on such a tendency. Criminalization of politics is the very negations of democratics, and value has no place in the democratic setup. Democracy can be strengthened by adopting and promoting democratic value and shining criminal activities here. The central adjudications will they're taking a serious note of criminal tendencies in the politics has a shorter sign of adopting remedial deal as a measure to be apply a serious check on such elements. The central government and many state governments has been taking steps to address this issue, and effectively this is a matter of great certification and healthy sign for the successful functioning of democracy in our country. We as awakened citizens as a voters of the largest democracy in the world can also contribute by discouraging such as a person who have a criminal background for a contesting election. The next year, political violence. The violence has been with the use for the long, but use of violence for a political end is dangerous for extensions of any system. In India, we have been to witnessing of various forms of violence. Is communal violence, caste violence, and political violence in the journal have attained serious proportions, and communal votes are the engineered by the vested interest for a political, religious, and economic reason. A caste violence is a very safe, has been increasing, and that their agriculture development, evolution of Jamidari system, and development like a green revolution and the white revolution, and they are still powerful. You know that green revolution is important and white revolution is important. Green revolution is the according to the agriculture, and white revolution there according to the of milk production, and there are still powerful feudal elements in the society. A serious conflict of interest has emerged between higher and the middle caste, and this has led to be aggressive competitions for the political power, which many times lead to the violence. On your screen, there's the most important picture here protests against the violence activities here. There is a bad activity on your screen. There is a fire on the bus. That's the most important, but this is true. Another aspect of the caste violence is the blackish of higher castes against the growing awareness and assertions of the right by the Dalit and lower castes. And particularly the scheduled caste and the backward castes. During the election, violence is began adopted either to be mobilized voter or to be prevent them from the exercising their right to vote. Moreover, violence has been associated with their demand for a separate state and reorganization of state or adjustment of state boundaries. Violence has also been used quite frequently during the industry strike, farmers movement, and student agitation. This is the most important topic here, and this topic was till this. We will be do their next topics in their next part. If you like it, then please like, share, and subscribe, and share the videos as much as possible. Do not things. Do not think that subscribes and save in your mobile. Thank you.